Our News from the Hill segment tonight, the Trump administration is plugging leaks. According to One America News chief White House correspondent Trey Yingst, 3 White House staffers have been identified for leaking classified information. Now, these people will be fired, but how much damage has already been done? With me now, former Trump campaign manager and current OAN political commentator Corey Lewandowski. Corey, good to see you.
Good to be back. Thank you.
All right, Corey, you have the president's ear in many respects here. Tell me, is this a priority for President Trump? Is he going to fire these leakers immediately upon his return to the United States?
Well, I think it's very fair to say that anybody who is caught leaking classified documents should immediately be terminated. They should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And moreover, anybody who is in the White House that is not on the president's agenda, that is talking to the media without the express consent of the White House to do so, should also be terminated, because you cannot have individuals who are attacking the president from within the walls of the White House, from within the walls of the deep state, from within the walls of the federal bureaucracy, and expect him to be successful. And what we have seen is a president who's willing to turn Washington upside down, but by having these leaks inside the building, and they're leaking classified information, if that is what did take place, these people should immediately be terminated upon his return.
Right. And let me ask you this. Of course, One American News' Trey Yingst reported yesterday that the identities of these 3 individuals has been confirmed by a White House official. And my question is, if President Trump is aware of who these people are, if these 3 names have been referred to the Office of Government Ethics for review, why hasn't the president already fired them? Why is he waiting?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I don't know how the internal procedure of the White House has worked as it relates to this potential termination, and if what is being reported is accurate, that these individuals have been found to be leaking classified information. It is a felony. These people should immediately be removed from their positions if that has been what is determined to have happened, because you can't leave people in place who are leaking information. They continue to have access potentially to additional classified information or phone records or emails. So if that is the case, and these individuals have been confirmed to have leaked classified information, they should be removed. I don't know what the process has been as it relates to informing the president of that leak or those leaks, but I would think that the president would want this issue dealt with swiftly and severely.
Right. Because talk to me about the damage here. I mean, I can point to a handful of stories just off the top of my head, I'm sure you can too, of classified information that's been leaked to the press just in the past 2 or 3 weeks here. Some of it turned out to be true. Some of it turned out not to be true. But in particular, I mean, the story that the media was reporting that President Trump leaked classified information to the Russians, that was a bad enough story as it was. But the fact of the matter was, someone who was either privy to that meeting or who had access to that classified information then detailed all of that information to the press, who then published it for the American people and the entire world to know about. I mean, what is the extent of, what kind of damage does that cause?
Well, if you think about it, it causes enormous damage inside the building, because what that means is the person who you're standing next to or working next to in your workspace is someone who can't be trusted. It's a person who has signed under the penalty of perjury that they were going to uphold the laws of our Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and they've clearly not done that if what is being reported is true. And what that tells you, obviously, is the morale inside the building, that people who you are working with on a daily basis are potentially leaking classified information to the media for their own personal gain, is something that I would think would be very devastating to the White House staff. And I think that if this did take place, and those individuals have been identified, they immediately need to be terminated. They need to be walked out of the door. They need to be made an example of to ensure that there is no additional leaks of classified information, because you are literally trusted, in some cases, with the country's most important secrets, and anybody who's willing to pick up the phone and betray that public trust should be held accountable.
Right, and that's my next question. I mean, you talk about the country's most important secrets. This is a pretty high level of classification. This isn't your run-of-the-mill political gossip that happens in the hallways of the White House. How high up do you expect this to go? These people that are leaking classified information, I mean, what level of staff are they to President Trump?
Well, that's a great question. We don't know, because the identities haven't been revealed. Are these individuals who are holdovers from the previous administration who are trying to leak this information to hurt the president? Are they individuals who are career government officials who have the same agenda, which is to hurt the president? Or are they newly appointed individuals who have come in since the president's been in office about 125 days ago? So I don't know who the individuals are. But what we do know is that if what is being reported is true, they will be held accountable, not just being terminated from their job. which is bad in and of itself. But they should be held accountable through the federal prosecution process, because leaking classified information is a felony. And if these individuals have done that,
right,
not only have they jeopardized their own careers, but they've jeopardized some of the most important secrets potentially that our country has to have.
Right, because we have to remember, this isn't just leaking of something from within a campaign that's maybe bad sportsmanship or something like that. This is actual classified information. This is not political retribution. This is people's lives at stake here. Corey, we're almost out of time, but address this for me. There are rumors that you've been visiting the White House quite frequently. Are you headed back there?
Well, I'm only going back as a visitor, I can tell you that. You know, I have a lot of friends who work in the building. I've had the privilege of speaking to many of them over the course of the last 4 months that the president's been in office. I've had the privilege of being inside the building. But look, I love my job. I love doing what I'm doing. I love being able to come on with you. And so the only time I go back to the White House is just as a visitor.
All right, Corey. Well, if that changes at any point, you tell us first.